Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. Alright, guys, last night we did a video that was really well received. It was all about celebrating the progress that we've had with constitutional carry movements across a lot of states this session or the beginning of this first year. Now, we're nowhere near over the finish line, but we're so close to pushing it, and this is not the time to give up. It's to continue to push and exert our influence, which you guys have been doing amazingly well doing. However, while I was making that video celebrating and pumping you guys up, Indiana actually passed their constitutional carry through the Senate. Now, this is one of my favorite situations this year because they snatched it from the jaws of defeat and the most elaborate traps laid out by the police superintendent there aiming to sink the bill. They pulled it from that jaw of defeat and it passed the Senate. It's now going to the governor's desk. That's what we're going to talk about. Everything is linked in the description box below, and there's something that is really amazing, serendipitous, if you will, that coincides directly with Ohio that also is waiting on the governor. This is really interesting. I'll do it on the other side once I do this read, because we got to thank USCCA for making these videos possible. Now, the USCCA is about something bigger than the right to bear arms. It's a resource to help you be ready for the before, during, and after a self-defense incident. If you're not one of the 500,000 plus responsibly armed Americans who are proud USCCA members, then now is the time to explore USCCA membership. Click the link in description below now to learn about life-saving education and industry-leading training. Thank you so much to USCCA for making these videos possible, and make sure you click that link if you guys are looking at it, just so you know what your options are. But now, let's get into this because I cannot wait to share this with you guys. So, like I said, we're going to Indiana, but listen to how it ties into Ohio, and they might actually beat Alabama because this is crazy. Indiana lawmakers approve repealing gun permit requirement. Republican lawmakers pushed through a bill that would repeal Indiana's requirement for a permit to carry a handgun in public, further loosening the state's firearms laws despite public opposition from the state police superintendent who tried to sink this bad boy and some major law enforcement organizations. Now, say what you will, that seems to me a lot more related to funding than it does anything else, but that's not my place to say. Now, the House and the Senate approved the repeal as Republican lawmakers revived it last week after conflict amongst GOP senators had temporarily sidelined the issue. Now, that's what we were talking about when you pulled it from the jaws of defeat, because it got stuck in committee. So they put it into another bill. Well, now that other bill passed not only the House, it's also passed the Senate. It's going to the governor. Now, this is where if you're in Indiana, you need to call the governor. You need to help push this over the finish line. We have done amazing work together, really exerting our influence as constituents. Time to push this bad boy over the finish line. Call the governor and make sure he signs it because he's got 7 days to do so, which is interesting because it puts it directly in line with Ohio. I'm going to go through that in 1 second. Once the measure arrives at Governor Eric Holcomb's desk, he will have 7 days to sign it or veto it, or it would then become law without his signature. So you've got 3 different avenues here. 1, signs it into law, it becomes law. 2, he does nothing, it becomes law. 3, he vetoes it and does some serious damage to the movement, the bill, and also his own credibility. So you've got 2 options that are perfectly fine, and then you have 1 that's really disastrous. But what's interesting about this, and like I said, this is really interesting. He's got 7 days to sign it. Well, it passed on the 8th. That would put it on the 15th. That is the exact same day, the 15th of March, that Governor DeWine has to sign that bill but in Ohio, or he has to veto it, sign it, or let it become law. The exact same scenario on the exact same day. That is really interesting. All the while, Alabama down in the South is still waiting on the House to pass the concurrent version of the Senate. So Alabama was out in front. They might actually get passed by Ohio and Indiana. If Nebraska passes them, listen, Alabama, I got nothing on you, all right? But it's really interesting that the same day next week's going to be huge for gun rights. The Republican governor hasn't said whether he supports the concept of not requiring handgun permits, saying last week he would give the bill careful thought. Well, as constituents, as Second Amendment advocates, and passing the blessing along to the next generation, why don't you guys give careful thought to calling politely and reminding him that he needs to do this? This is something that if you put enough pressure on here, you can get this over the finish line and encourage him to take further future political action. This is something that's really important. And this is such a great way to end this session in Indiana. Check this out. Quote, Hoosiers value their Second Amendment rights. Yet under the current regime, they are forced to ask the government for extra permission in order to exercise the fundamental right of carrying a firearm for self-defense. This bill simply codifies the fundamental right of all people to defend themselves wherever a self-defense situation may arise. That could not be better said. That could not be a better way to end this session in Indiana. And if you're in Indiana, pick up that phone. It's time to push this bad boy over the finish line. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow morning on the Bullet Points episode where we will hopefully have some really great news from Indiana, Oklahoma, Indiana, Nebraska, or Alabama. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.